Now stay tuned to the following radio broadcast.
You're listening to the Victory Station, AM 1360. We're glad you chose us. Thank you.
It's Impact with the Florida Star, the largest, oldest, and most read African-American newspaper in Northeast Florida and South Georgia. And now, here's the host, the publisher of the award-winning Florida Star, Clara McLaughlin.
Hello, thank you for joining us here on Impact. I'm Clara McLaughlin, and our host today is Opio Ciccone, because he does it all the time, right, Opio?
Yes.
And we were so lucky because we were able to be with the Grandmaster, even though the convention is over. He's done such a fantastic job. We've got to talk about it. So thank you for joining us here on Impact.
Well, I'm speaking to Grandmaster Walter Gulley. As a matter of fact, M.W. Walter Gulley Jr. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, and yourself, my brother?
I'm doing well, sir. This is a amazing time for me to be able to talk to you because what last week was something really, really incredible. I walked into the Hyatt and I saw the most beautiful display of black people, and you guys were giving away a whole lot of money, scholarships to other black people. Is that kind of what you guys do?
Yes, we do that. We had at this particular session, it was our 148th annual communication. We had approximately 900 brothers and 900 sisters. It was a great event. We gave away several scholarships, some that would take students through the 4 years, others that were in a specialized category. We had book scholarships. So between the different houses representing the Most Wishful Union Grand Lodge, there are going to be a lot of happy young people out there now.
So tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you're from.
I am Walter Gulley Jr. I am from Pensacola, Florida. I have been in this Masonic walk since 1983. We've seen some great times, we've seen some struggling times, but thanks be to God, we're moving forward in a manner that we couldn't hope for to be in a better position right now. I taught school for 35 years. I just retired in October of 17. I taught American history, I taught law studies, African American history. I've had a good go of it. I sponsored a service club for 18 years, the first African American service club at Booker T. Washington High School's new location. I then stopped that and I ended up coaching a Black History and Culture Rainbow team, which I coached for 7 years. Many people looked at me strange when I said this, but I actually prayed for 5 state championships. And in 7 years, God gave me 5 state championships. And at that point, I retired from that. And then I went on to just kind of dedicate my time totally to the students up until my retirement.
Now, Clara, we had just asked a question about all the money that they're giving away or they gave away, and you were sitting right in there. Education is really important to the Masons.
Absolutely, and he didn't say this, but he also started a university, for the Masons, and it's going strong. We had an article in the paper.
Talk about that.
Actually, it's a Masonic university, but it's not just teaching things related to Masonry. We have courses that are designed to deal with leadership. We have courses that are designed to teach people practical ways of dealing with business. We have courses designed to teach and understand the history and the impact that it's made in our country. Masons have always been very influential, but we are more or less behind the scenes. During the Civil Rights Movement, Masons greatly supported the efforts financially. We were not the ones out marching and holding up a Masonic emblem or anything like that. Individuals march, of course, but we're not a protest organization. We are an organization can affect change. in more definitive and successful means sometimes. But it's a great opportunity for us to help others, and it's been good for us. Those young people who received those scholarships, and it was very good to see the young lady come back to say thank you, who had just graduated from St. Leo. Young people are coming out, they're going in, they have to maintain a 3.0 grade point average once they receive a scholarship. So every year we add to our list. We currently have approximately 10 students that are in college right now.
Well, now I know how important you guys are through studying a woman by the name of Bessie Coleman. This was before the 20s, during the 20s, and she died. Well, after she died in the 30s, there was a group here called the Knights of Pythagoras, and they did a lot of work in the way of the civil rights battles that were going on. Are you saying that you guys are kind of like those organizations where you stand behind the scenes, got the major players out there doing what they need to do, making sure they're funded, because that helped Jacksonville a lot?
Actually, if you look back and study our history, many of the organizations like the NAACP and others actually met in this building. On the first floor, you had the office of Leander Shaw. He was an attorney for the Grand Lodge at one time. He went on to become the only African American to serve as the Chief Justice of the Florida State Supreme Court. You had D.W. Perkins, who was a powerful attorney in this city, and his office was on the second floor, I believe. We've had some great individuals come through, James Weldon Johnson and all those type individuals who made a major impact. Grandmaster John Dickerson was a major politician. Tillman Valentine in the 1800s was a big mover and shaker in Jacksonville. So we've seen some great impacts that have allowed us to pass these teachings on to generations, that we may be able to emulate those positive attributes that they had.
Now, when people think Masons, they think secret handshakes. They think a large number of different secretive type of things. How important is the secret to what you guys do and who you guys are about?
That's a very good question. To be honest with you, any organization that you are not a member of is a secret to you. Okay? Now, the Mason secrets are found in the Bible. Passwords are in the Bible. The only secrets that Masons have are passwords, grips, and signs. That's it. You read about Masonry in the Bible every day. You just don't realize what you're reading. For example, sometimes we can make it too secretive. For example, in this what's called ancient craft masonry, or a master mason, there are 3 degrees. The first degree, the biblical character, is a person by the name of David. Okay? And the second degree is the prophet Amos. And the third degree is the preacher called Ecclesiastes. So the secrets are right there. It's not the only way you don't know the secrets is you don't study your Bible.
Right.
Okay.
Now, and there's the networking part of it all and helping each other out as brothers. And then you guys have the Eastern Star, who are the ladies that's connected to the Masons.
That is true. Every house that we have has a female auxiliary to it. Okay, so if you say Master Masons, you say the Order of the Eastern Star. If you say Holy Royal Arch Masons, you say the Herons of Jericho. If you say Royal and Select Masters, you say Ladies of the Circle of Perfection. So going on up the ladder, each one has a female auxiliary that's attached to it.
Now, how close are you guys, or similar are you to, say, Greek-lettered organizations?
No, we're not. Actually, when you look at the numbers and the founding dates of these organizations, Prince-Hall Masonry precedes all of them. Now, Masonry is an organization that's built on biblical principles. Okay, it's not a religion, it's not a church, but Masonry teaches you to emulate those principles of those individuals associated with those particular degrees. So when you look at David, you know, you look at David and know that David was a man after God's own heart, but David had some shortcomings, like his passion for women.
Right.
You know, and there are some lessons that we teach that focuses on those particular biblical scriptures. But we encourage our women to take note of the herons that are associated with their particular house. Just like we talk about in the herons of Jericho, there's a woman in the Bible by the name of Rahab. When you study Rahab's story, you know she was a businesswoman. You know, old folk used to say she ran a house of ill repute. But you know she had to be okay in the end with the Lord because she ended up in the Hall of Faith,
Right.
okay, in the book of Hebrews. So we can take things and twist them in any way we want to, but the bottom line is no organization is perfect. And when you find one and when you join it, it becomes imperfect. We do strive to try to do better in our walk in life. And then that's why we have these young people we try to bring behind us. We have what's called the Knights of Pythagoras. The young men between the ages of 6 and 17 that can serve in the Knights of Pythagoras, they can actually become Master Masons at 18. We have young ladies called Starlights and the Youth Palace, where we, again, are teaching them major skill sets to prepare them for life after they leave from underneath the roofs of their parents. You know.
Now, Clara, you were at the event and just all these beautiful black people wearing these incredible garbs. And when I walked in there, I was like, wow, this is incredible. This is your first time seeing them in their full regalia?
No, I guess I've been with them about 10 or 15 years, since I built Florida Star.
So tell me.
I want to say something. I'm so glad to hear him talk about the relationship with the Bible, because you get complaints all the time, and I'm sitting here just happy to hear him explain what Masons are all about.
Now, I want to talk about the networking part again. Do you guys help each other with jobs? Do you guys help each other with, say, if there's a trouble with one of the other brothers and his family, those type of supports?
We do that all the time. More especially, for example, 2017 was a tough year for us. Some of the worst hurricanes ever. We found ourselves, we have lodges outside the United States. We have a lodge in the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have a lodge in the British Virgin Islands. We have 3 lodges in Africa. We have a lodge in Germany. So, getting back to your question, in the Virgin Islands, when they were hit real hard, we weren't trying to send food stuff primarily because they said that it was a debacle and it was no guarantee that they would get it. So what we did, we wired money to them, and they actually got that and gave it to individuals to help them from day to day to cope. As a matter of fact, when they came to this the grand session this year, they brought a slide presentation, and they showed the before and after and how much damage they had suffered there. So they wanted to thank us tremendously for all that we did to help them get through this real tough period. But we've helped people locally as well who run into some hard times, so to speak. And sometimes it's not always helping individuals who's a member of the organization. If we bring, someone brings something to our attention, we believe in attention to detail. So we will go out and investigate it, and they'll come back with a report typically to let me know the particulars.
Do you know what media received the first Eagle Award by the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office for being the most factual? The Florida Star. Do you know which media solely addresses issues of concern for African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know which media carries local, state, national, and international news regarding African Americans? The Florida Star. Do you know the only media that carries a special section for our youth at home and the schedule for 3 black television networks? Now you know the Florida Star. Northeast Florida's largest, oldest, and most read African American newspaper, serving since 1951 in more than 200 locations. The Florida Star. News you can use. News you can trust. The people's choice. Striving to make a difference. Subscribe today. Call 766-8834. That's 766-8834. Pick up the Florida Star at over 200 locations. Or to have it delivered, call 766-8834. The Florida Star. Speaking truth to power.
This is Opio and Clara McLaughlin. We are speaking with the Grand Master of the Masons, M.W. Walter Gulley Jr. When I think Masons, master builders, I think pyramids. I think Africa. But there is some, or for a long time, there's been a separation of race when it comes to the Masons. Talk about Prince Hall. Talk about the race and separation of the Masons. And maybe even now, some talking about houses being white and black brothers and so on together.
Well, Prince Hall, of course, was the one that really got the ball to moving for us. And one of his major concerns was the fact that blacks or African Americans were not receiving proper burials. Of course, he was a veteran of the American Revolutionary War. He petitioned England because he was concerned about that. He received a charter, and that charter is actually housed in Boston, Massachusetts. I've seen it. They keep it downtown in a vault. African Lodge number 459 was the lodge that got started initially with Prince Hall. So with him now, it's masonry though is kind of like society overall. You see progress being made in some jurisdictions or some states as relates to relations between blacks and whites. Okay, you go out to Oklahoma. You go to their meeting like we had this past weekend, they have the white contingents that comes over and visit them, and they go over and visit the whites. Texas, I think, has a mutual understanding of recognition with one another, but they don't necessarily visit one another. But North Carolina, they had a big coming together a few years ago. But the further you go north and west, you find less tension. But it's the southern states where the wall continues to be chiseled away at, trying to bring this Masonic body together across racial lines.
Why in the southern states? Because I know there was a history one time of white Masons getting in trouble because some things that they did, and they traveled from one part of the country to the next part of the country. I've never heard black Masons getting in trouble because of their connections. Why is there such a big problem in the South with blacks and white Masons who are brothers coming together?
Well, much of it dates back to their upbringing and their lineage. There's a white Mason here who stated in Jacksonville, he said that things will get better once we have a few more deaths. And what he's saying is those diehard racist guys are not going to change. The only change that's going to come about is when they go in the grave. They've got some younger Masons who have no problem with it. Okay, but again, it's a day-by-day process, and only time will tell.
How does one become a Grand Master? How long does that take?
It depends on the jurisdiction. You have 4 major positions that you serve in prior to becoming Grand Master. Once you get in that bottom tier, the upper level, but the very beginning of it, for our group in Florida here with Prince Hall, Most Wishful Union Grand Lodge, it's a 20-year process. Now, every jurisdiction does not have tenure, though. There are some jurisdictions, once you get elected Grand Master, you are elected for life. Okay? In ours, we say that we have tenure, but really we elect annually. But you can do up to 5 years, based on the will of the craft.
I'm going to tell you something I saw, Clara. I was raised part of my life out in Atlantic Beach, and they have Masons out there. There's a place called a Voussoir. I went out there, and I didn't know what was going on. But some of the guys that I knew that I grew up with, now they're in their Mason outfits, and everybody who came through, they served them food, particularly where the women were concerned. They took over the whole place and served food and treated everybody nice. Is that something that the mentality is service is the main product that you guys have?
Actually, service is emblematic of the teachings of Jesus. If you remember the 13th chapter, John, when Jesus washed the disciples' feet. But the important thing with that towel is the use of it after you leave out of the building. Do you actually spread or extend that love and that charity outside of the house? We definitely teach that. We have many of our local bodies that feed the hungry. Christmas baskets, Thanksgiving, just come in off the street and just get a hot meal. So yeah, that's not unusual. And we also insist that our young people get involved in community service so that they will realize the importance of giving back. Okay? We don't want them to grow up thinking it's always they are on the receiving end. But sometimes it's okay for them to go out and cut an elderly person's yard, or trim their hedges, or help take the groceries in the house or something. So, yes, service is major.
But money is important too, particularly where black people are concerned. Claire, you've been on a business for a long time, and these type of connections that you have kind of helps you out, right?
Well, I work with them because I believe in them. And when I believe in an organization and what they're trying to do, yes, we help each other.
Now, economics is important. As you know, the biggest cause of crime is poverty, right? So where are you guys, and how do you guys deal with those connections where you're helping people get jobs, helping people get financing, making sure we come together and supporting businesses? And that might be a new business, and you say, hey, everybody go and support this business. Where are you guys when those type of things are?
Actually, that's a good question. We typically rely greatly on the database that we're building and continuing to build. So if you happen to need a plumber, we search our roles first. If you call us to say, do you know of a plumber in this area, we search our roles first. And then we may call key people who live in that area who can lead you to someone who's credible, someone who's not going to try and overcharge you, and someone who's going to give you an outstanding job. we this past session we had a network forum where we invited different businesses here locally to come in and sit around the table and exchange some cards and just break bread together. This is the first time we've done it. We are looking forward to building more next year by involving some key people here in Jacksonville who have good inroads to businesses here. I know I spoke with a young lady here who says that there are a multiplicity of African American business owners in Jacksonville. So I think the chairman is looking at reaching out to her to get some of the names and contacts so we can try to build on that to make that opportunity better next year.
What do you see as the future on the horizons for the Masons? Do you see you guys just staying in there doing the exact same things, or do you see technology changing you guys? Is there something new on the horizons that you see at all?
Number one, we in the next couple of years, we have something going on that's going to allow us to give more scholarships to kids. Number two, we will be, and over the past probably 3 to 5 years, we've greatly increased in terms of technology. Just like right now in this building, you have the capability of having everyone on either floor be able to visually see what's going on the fifth floor. We have audio so they can speak. So let's say if we have an overflow, they can go down to the third floor, which is the largest area, and screens will come down, and everything will be piped through electronically. We are technologically savvy. We have a information and technology department that makes sure that we stay on the cutting edge. So we're on point for that. But there are greater things coming ahead.
And Clara, I thought we was only going to get 15 minutes, but look like we've gone through the entire program because of how incredible this conversation is. We're talking to M.W. Walter Gulley Jr., the Grand Master of the Masons. Take us out, Clara.
Well, he didn't bring it up. We mentioned the fact that they're outside of Florida, and he is the Grand Master for all of those, like in the West Indies, and yes, he's the number one person, and you can see why when you talk with him, right?
Well, one of the things that we're going to do this year that we haven't really done, we have a golf tournament that's coming up the weekend of June 29th through the 1st of July, I believe. It's going to be in Orlando, Florida. It's going to be at the Shingles Creek Golf Course, which is one of the nicest courses around. We're going to be staying at the Rosen Plaza. So it's an exciting time. It's really going to be a family event along with an event to help us continue to perpetuate those positive things that we're doing here. We will have a leadership forum on the weekend of August 11th, which will be in Jacksonville, where we're going to take 3 top aspiring potential leaders of the future and bring them in for a day to teach leadership. So we're expecting probably between 400 and 500 people probably. So we are moving toward having our mortgage burning within the next couple of years.
All right.
So we've got some great things. We're gonna have a awesome time that year. Hey, what do they say? Party like 1999. So we plan to do that, and we're excited about where our children are headed. The young men are really into the STEM project. The young ladies are into robotic engineering. So there's no limit to where we can go from here.
Thank you, Mr. M.W. Walter Gulley Jr., Grandmaster of the Masons, and Clara McLaughlin. All right, this is Opio. I got to get out of here. Make sure y'all continue to pick up a copy of the Florida Star newspaper, as well as watch us on Star TV 18.2. We'll see you next time on Impact.